Welcome to A Walk in My Stilettos, where our goal is to help you walk in your greatness. I'm your host, Makini Smith. We have a special guest, a woman that I had the pleasure of meeting. I was actually on a visit to Philly, and she came all the way from New Jersey. She's an amazing woman, and I definitely love everything that she is about. Her name is Ayana Iman. She's a communications professional, certified life coach, a mama of one based in Jersey, and she's also known for her love of big hair, travel, and cooking. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I think this is so cool. And you're right, it was very great meeting you in Philly. And Philly isn't actually far from my house. So it wasn't too big of a deal for me, but it was a bigger deal to meet you and the wonderful ladies that you were with.
You're so awesome. We definitely appreciate you making that drive. And, I continue to watch your journey and watch you grow, and I just love it. And I guess the first thing I want to start with, because they say that our name and our title and what we're called says a lot about us. So, do you know what your name actually means?
Of course. So Ayana means beautiful flower in Swahili. And Iman, I think it still means face, even though it's not without the eyes, it being Imani.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I had no idea that your name was Swahili. My name, Makini, is actually Swahili as well, and it means strength of character.
I
That's
love
awesome.
that.
Awesome. 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 So I want to talk about your beautiful family. You share moments on social media with your daughter and your partner. And I thank you for inspiring others, with your journey and your beautiful pictures of your family. I love to do the same. I post pictures of my children and my relationship. So my second question, I guess, is how did you two meet? You and your partner?
Oh, wow. So it started off on Twitter years before we actually got together. Back then, I think maybe I was a recent college grad. So it had to be maybe 2012, maybe before 2011. I don't want
Hmm.
to get too caught up with dates, but I will say it was earlier. Um, and so he DM'd me like, hey, why don't I know you? We live in the same area. And my response was like, I don't want you to know me. Like, I have a boyfriend, leave me alone. And
Wait. Hold on. Did you say you guys met on Twitter?
well, we met on Twitter because we were following each other.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
And
Yep. Yep. Yep.
yeah, so Boa is an artist through and through. So back then he was designing clothes and I was a fan of his. And I was like, he's so cool. But then when I realized, he was trying to get to know me, I was like, excuse me, I have a whole boyfriend, stay your butt over there. And so I set that down. And years later when photography was his medium, he asked me to be a part of a hair series. And I was like, yeah, sure. By then, I realized that I knew his mom. My mom and his mom actually worked together. And, I knew a little bit more about him. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, being at this shoot, we just became friends. And it took a lot of time because at the time I was actually pregnant with my daughter.
Hmm.
And so I was still in another relationship and he was in a relationship. We were just friends. He was very cool and very kind. And then, another year or so had passed. And when we were both at a crossroads in our relationships and getting out of them, our friendship developed more, and that was my homie. And later on, it became, my lover, and he became my partner. But yeah, it was not a linear experience. It wasn't like here's a date and there's this. It happened gradually over years.
I think it's beautiful because some people have this, idea that you're going to meet somebody and instantly, you're going to fall in love, and that's how things happen. And in this new day and age, I mean, I love social media. A lot of my connections with friends, business partners, what have you, have all stemmed from making connections on social media. And my connection with my current partner, we actually met through Facebook. So I think that's beautiful. So
Wow.
you're saying that when you two met, you're like, I didn't want you to know me, and it was gradual. So I guess at what point did you know that he was like for you?
Well, you know what it was? We were friends, so it wasn't like this connection that was based off romance first or lust. I'll say that it wasn't based off lust. It was based off of intimacy
Mhm.
that stemmed from friendship. I got out. I mean, at the time, I was 23, 24. I'm now 27. I was 23. And I, had just had a baby a year ago. I was getting out of a really bad relationship, but I knew I still wanted love. Like I wasn't looking to jump back in a relationship, but I had not hardened my heart to love.
Mhm.
And so, through this friendship, I developed feelings. It was like, oh, I really like you. And then the care that he took with my child. That was
Yep.
really important to me. Like you have to love both of us. We're a package deal.
Yes.
And yeah, I didn't want the ego driven man anymore. I think before I was attracted to that. And then I realized, you know what, that just don't work for me. I need someone who's calm, who listens, who's adventurous, and who wants to be better than who they are today. And he had those qualities.
That's beautiful. So you said, he had to understand that you had a child and you came as a package. So how did you know that he was someone that you could trust to bring around your daughter?
Well, he had photographed my family before, so he had been around just a few times, just based off of shooting. So
Mhm.
he shot like her first birthday pictures. So he's been in our lives, like as a photographer for a while, and
Awesome.
so he had been around her in ways that it wasn't, this is my boo, like this is our photographer. So he had to naturally get to know her.
Yes.
And then on top of that, I ask questions like, the powers and the time. Like, I have boundaries, I have needs, and I have desires. Can you do X, Y, and Z? I don't want to waste your time. I truly don't want you to waste my time. And he was open and honest. And I think what also helped us was that I have sole custody. And
Mhm.
so I created boundaries between my ex and I so that I could move forward and date and that we would never have any issues because you're over there and I'm over here.
Right.
And so I think that also helped him feel like he could get in a relationship with me because boundaries were laid and everything was clear.
I think that's a great point that you had boundaries. I think I've seen a lot of women get into relationships and they don't have boundaries for themselves and they don't set boundaries for the relationship with their kids and their partner, and then when things don't work out and unexpected things happen, they're so confused. But if you don't know what you want going in, then you're not going to get it. You need to be transparent and open about what it is that you want, what it is that you're looking for. People are not mind readers.
That's so true.
So you said you had your daughter. Okay, so how old is your daughter?
She's 5.
Okay. So being that she's just 5, when you look at your daughter, do you see yourself?
I do. She is very spunky. She speaks shade fluently, and I don't know where she gets it from. But no, she is, so when we talk about names, like her name traditionally is pronounced Ayo in Yoruba, but I pronounce it Ayo because,
Mhm.
I'm an A, and it means joy. And so for me, when I had her, I needed joy in my life, and so she's
Mhm.
a constant reminder of joy. And on top of that, I think she just embodies that. Like her middle name is Lola. It's a Latin derivative that means strong woman. I mean, it
Mm.
means different things in many different languages, but I chose it for that particular description. And I wanted her to be a joyous, strong woman. I didn't want her to be bitter. I didn't want her to not feel like she won't have difficulties in life. I want her to welcome them and
Mhm.
get through them and be joyous and have gratitude because that is the key to success in life and just living your fullest life in all the abundance.
Yes, yes. So, okay. So how has gratitude and affirmations changed your life?
Oh, it profoundly changed my life. And it still does to this day. I mean, I found affirmations when I was pregnant with her. I think my first 3 months, I was very sick. I was bedridden. I had anxiety. I had extreme nausea to the point I had to take pills, and I could not stand for long periods of time because I was very busy
Mhm.
and it just wasn't fun. And on top of that, we had lost our home, and so here I am, essentially homeless, staying in very uncomfortable situations. and really just feeling like what just happened. Like I felt like I fell from grace at the beginning of the year, just a few months before. I was a college graduate. I had landed my first job. Life was lit. I was young and doing it. And now it's like, hold on, I'm pregnant. I don't really like I don't think this person I'm having this child with is right for me. I'm, homeless. I feel out of sorts, like I'm the child that does everything right.
Mhm.
What is going on? And so I think around I don't want to say which month. I would say like maybe fourth or fifth month of pregnancy. Once, I was out of the first trimester, I started to read, and I started to read like The Alchemist, and it talked about personal legends, and I was like, I want a personal legend. Like I
Mhm.
want to have a fulfilling life like that.
Mhm.
And on top of that, I read a book about gratitude, and I think those two books combined just renewed my spirit, but then also aligned me with affirmations and how to cultivate them. And the first affirmation I wrote was "I am love,"
Mhm.
and I needed that because I didn't have self love. I didn't know what that was.
Mhm.
And then eventually, after I gave birth to her, others came about. One was I'm going to go to Paris, which I did with her back in
Awesome.
2015.
Awesome.
And thank you. And that was actually my affirmation when I first gave birth. When they later on me to nurse and to have that mommy time, I whispered in her ear, "We're gonna go to Paris." Like I didn't have a dime. So I'm like, I don't know how they gotta have health insurance. I was like, I don't know how we're going, but I just knew in my heart that it would happen, and I would be able to share that story with her and for other people. And so yeah, so other affirmations range from I have a two-bedroom apartment that's fully furnished with a great view, and that's exactly what I have now. I talked about I remember quoting red car. I wasn't attached to the color red. I just needed to see and visualize this color. I ended up having
Yes.
a silver car, but that's all good because it said that AO loves when I drive fast. So to say she loves when I drive fast when she track music. And so, a lot of those affirmations, were definitely more, about the intangible and tangible things. But even now, I find myself, every year having to write new affirmations and looking, I still have them. I sign and date them because it's a self contract.
Right, right.
And then it lets me know like, if I didn't accomplish something, why didn't I do it? Like there's one that's like, you have lost 50 pounds. And I'm like, I haven't gotten there yet. Like maybe a little bit, but I'm not there yet. And then I realized, okay, that's my own doing. I need to align myself by trimming the fat to actually make that goal happen.
Yes. So, I mean, we're both coaches, and I think that it's beautiful to see so many people in this space right now, not only developing ourselves, but helping other people tap into their potential and be their greatest selves. I strongly, strongly also believe in affirmations to the point where I wrote an affirmations book, and my app sends out an affirmation every morning. But I mean, is there anything that you feel people are not understanding about the power of affirmations?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the scripture, so please don't quote me. But there is something in the Bible. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, write your vision and make it plain.
Yes,
And
yes,
so you have to do that. You have to write your vision. And there's something powerful, and there are studies done on this, that we remember things intrinsically by writing it down.
yes.
And so for me, when I heard that, I'm like, let me write everything down. I need money in my bank account. I need love. I need everything. And I mean, some of the things were fun, but it was more so like, I need to write this down. But then on top of that, you have to follow it with action. And so
Yes,
I think the affirmation is it's the act of writing it down, but it's also allowing you to understand your vision and make it plain. And
yes,
then what the scripture, the scripture obviously is, God will see you through, but you also have to see yourself through. Because
yes,
God rewards those that reward themselves. You have to take accountability and take action.
yes, yes. Girl, you preaching. I had a client of mine that I was speaking to yesterday, and we're working on getting her book together, and she was just talking about the ideas that have started to flow and that are coming to her. And I said to her, I mean, writing causes thinking, thinking causes feelings cause you to act, and actions cause results. So I think a major thing with affirmations people have to understand is when you're affirming something, you have to see it so strong. You have to like feel it. You have to attach a feeling to it in order for it to manifest. You were talking about going to Paris with your daughter and, not having the funds and all that stuff. But I'm sure that you actually believed everything that you were saying. You saw the vision of you guys in Paris in order for that to manifest, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, your daughter's only 5, but what advice would you give to her, when she becomes a teen on it?
Mm.
Yes.
Move forward and go confidently, and you'll go far. And
Love it.
so it's like no matter what is eating you, and for me that's the stressors of life. You got to move forward. I mean,
Mm.
I think she can attest to this even at 5. Well, maybe not. She thinks she lives an amazing life, which she does. She's very fortunate. But it's more so like, since having her, before I had her, and even now to this day, I mean, struggling with stable jobs, getting paid my worth, having to
Mhm,
command my worth in
mm,
salaries,
mhm,
um, struggles, microaggressions just in the world, and how do I move through that, losing friends, losing family members, and I mean I'm not just talking about through death. I'm talking about they're just not in my life anymore, and having to accept that.
mm,
It's
mhm,
it's rough, but if anything, I still get up in the morning. I still put on my clothes, do my makeup, get my hair done because that is my personal standard, and I
mhm.
move forward. Not I
Yes.
don't always have a plan. I just know if I start, the plan will come. But if I go confidently, um, I'll go further because I'm
Yes.
confident that things will change and shift because I am aligning myself with that goal. And if she knows that, anything and everything is possible.
I think that's beautiful. I have 2 daughters, and this morning I had one of them, who is an entrepreneur. She's dealing with some struggles in her business, and she got a little emotional, and I can understand. I'm an emotional person sometimes as well, but when it comes to business and you're an entrepreneur, your business doesn't care about your feelings. So I
Yeah.
said to her, you can take your few minutes. You're human. Cry, be frustrated, let it out, but you need to move forward. Like, let's start looking at a solution. What action steps are you going to take next? I think for her, it might be a bit of a challenge having a mom who is, a mindset coach because I'm always in solution mode. I'll take the 2 seconds to comfort you, but you need to move forward. It's time now to wipe those tears off your face, and let's write down the next 6 things we're gonna do today to get you towards your goals. Let's come out of your feelings and let's get stuff done. Gotta keep it moving.
Yeah. So true.
So, I guess for you, what are 3 things that you'd like to instill in your daughter based on your past life experiences?
Curiosity
Mm,
is a big one for me. I need her to stay curious. What are the other two things? I think empathy.
mhm.
I think it's an underrated soft skill, and I think that I need her to have a high EQ, which is emotional intelligence. I need
Yes.
her to understand her emotions and understand other people's emotions because that'll really help her with conversations.
Mhm.
And there are even studies about how if you have an high EQ, you're naturally a leader, and those are
Yes.
the people that help run the world efficiently,
Yes.
for sure. And uh, 3, curiosity and empathy in regards to high EQ. And what else does she need? Um, Financial wellness. Like I want her to have a healthy relationship with money,
Mhm.
and something that I am still cultivating, and I hope that whatever I learn, I pass on to her. And yeah, a healthy relationship with money. I want her to get her coins, like have your coins.
I think that's awesome. So you said, um, Sorry, you said
I
curiosity, empathy,
curiosity, yep, and
and
financial wellness.
of financial wellness. So, curiosity, I think that's a number one thing that adults they start to forget. You know, when you're young, you know, you're living in a fantasy world, and then people start to tell you, you know, be realistic. But in order to do great things, you need to be able to be curious and have an imagination and to take that fantasy into a theory of knowing that something is possible in order for it to become a reality. So I think that's amazing. And the emotional intelligence, the empathy part. I was watching, I believe it was like another interview by Gary Vee. Do you know who Gary Vee is? Gary Vaynerchuk?
I do, of course,
Okay,
from
yes. Well,
Jersey.
I love him. I love him. And in his interview, he was talking about, you know, he believes he has a very high emotional intelligence, and that that's what's made him so successful. And that, you know, a lot of people are driven by many different things, but for him, it's about being a good person, knowing that he can sleep at night. You know, he treats his employees well. He creates an amazing community of people that love each other because that energy is transferable.
I love that.
And the financial wellness part, I think that's for me as a woman who, you know, has been a single mom for a long time. I think that's a big thing because I think in I'm going to say I don't know, you know, necessarily in the US, but I know in the Black community for women here in Toronto, a lot of Black women don't talk about their finances. And I think that if they were more open to talking about it, then they'd have a better chance of finding solutions for it. You know, not being ashamed of our situation and being open enough that we can discuss it so that we can create financial independence for ourselves. If I wasn't smart with money when I became a single mom, I would not have made it to where I am now, you know, 10 years being a full-time entrepreneur. So I think it's important for women, whether you're with a partner or without, to be financially independent.
For
So
sure.
those are some amazing qualities that you want to instill in your daughter. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you have a book called All That Matters, a book about families that came out in 2016, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the inspiration behind that book?
The inspiration came from me crying, actually. It was a very emotional time. She was not even a year old. She was probably, I'd say, like 6 to 8 months old. She's still very tiny.
Mhm.
And at that moment, I had actually gotten into a car accident.
Oh,
And
wow.
she was in the car, my mother was in the car, and my car was totaled.
Wow.
And I remember calling her father and saying, "We got into a car accident." And his response were, "Why were you driving while it was raining?" And I was like,
What?
yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't got this kind of time today." So,
Ugh.
I did, I hung up and I went home and I was a wreck for a few days. And I don't think anybody really knew the inner turmoil I had. One, it
Mhm.
was like my child was in the car. Two, it was my car is gone and it's totaled and there is no money coming out of it because it was a brand new car. So I hadn't paid much into
Oh,
it. So it was gone. It was
right.
done. It was total, thank God, a total loss. I didn't have to pay out anything, but where was my car?
Mhm.
And then on top of that, I had major anxiety for the first like few weeks just driving in the car, having
Of
other people
course.
drive with me. I was just very anxious. And I remember that week when it happened, me holding her because she was crying and I was crying and she didn't realize like clearly she wasn't paying attention to me. But I was just very emotional because I knew I was in a really bad place emotionally, financially, in a really bad relationship, and I just needed change. So I remember while she was crying, I was like soothing her by trying to sing, and I started singing the Willy Wonka song really badly. But it's like, come with me and you'll see in the world of pure imagination. And I was like singing it, trying to calm her down, didn't know the
Mhm.
words, and I was humming it. And then I started saying words, and the words were like, "Mommy, where's Daddy?" And I'm like, "I don't know, baby, but I love you." And
Mm.
that was like for a fact. I did not know where he was.
Mm.
And she didn't
Wow.
ask, but in my mind she did. And I was
Right.
like, I have no clue. And to this day, I truly don't have a clue. But I love you, and that's all that matters. And I wanted
Mhm.
her to know that. I needed other mothers to know that, and other fathers, and other grandparents, anybody who's a parent, single parents, same sex parents. Like, if a child who's adopted says, why don't I look like you? And it was like, you know what? Some people are fortunate to have a mother, a father, or two of the same, but all that matters is that we love you.
Mhm.
And really just telling my child like we might have this nuclear family, but you're here. You were born in love. I love you. Fortunately, Bola has stepped in as her father,
Mhm.
and we do it all together, and we just build our tribe together.
That is beautiful. That is
Mhm.
so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. So when you were writing this, because I know for myself personally, when I wrote my first book, I dealt with a lot of I'm going to say emotional challenges because I had to relive past experiences in order to get it out. So when you were writing, did you experience any challenges that you'd like to share with anyone that's in the process of writing or that may be thinking of writing?
Any emotional challenges? Not necessarily with
N-
this book. I think.
not just emotional. I mean, any
Oh,
challenges at
other
all.
challenges,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, for sure. The challenges of what do I do and where do I go to get this done? That's the first challenge. Um, Amazon, okay, great. You need me to format it in what way? Where do I
Mhm.
get this information from? I think, for some people it might be simple. For me, it was like, I don't even know how to do this. Um,
Mhm.
Eventually, I went with Blurb, and then I went back to Amazon to print. And then next, it was, how do I sell this book?
Mhm.
So I'm in the business of selling events and bringing people out, and it's always been really easy. Or as a speaker, I'm brought out to speak. So I understand sales, but I did not know that selling a book was a different beast. And
Mhm.
I did not have that knowledge. And so realistically, my book didn't sell the way I wanted to at
Mm.
all.
Mhm.
And I learned a few things. I learned one, know your audience.
Yep.
Yes, I have mothers that follow me, but I really have a lot of young millennials who are, in their professional careers. So my demographic is definitely like 25 to 35 is my sweet spot. Do I pull in younger and older? Of course. But these are the people that I need to serve. And these women are going to transition from careers and not feeling like they're where they want to be in life, marriage, having children, um, leaving broken relationships after years. Like that's where we're at, building ourselves up in careers. And so I know in my next book, because I'd love to write another one, it's going to
Mhm.
be tangible tips for my tribe that I know that they can digest easily. And also, of course I'll write more children's books. However, I need to build that muscle on my social platforms and in my speaking to really showcase and flex my muscles as a mother and what I've learned and build that tribe. We belong to multiple tribes.
Mhm.
I just created a book that didn't represent the one I had.
Mm. Okay. Okay. That's big. That's big. Thank you for sharing that. So, I
But
mean, you're definitely still a writer because right now you write for Exo Nicole. You have an advice column, right?
I do.
So it's called Ask Ayana.
Ask Ayana Iman.
All right. So how did that come about?
Oh, a number of ways. So Afghan Iman, I've been doing it for I want to say 2 years now, but honestly, I can't remember. Time is running. I don't remember. But when I say doing it, I was not writing it. I was not writing for Exo Nicole. That's very recent, only about 2 months old now. But in the last year or so, I did live coaching sessions, and it was group coaching. And basically, it was on IG Live. You could tune in, and I would give you advice based on your question.
Mm,
And it was really cool. And then for people that wanted it anonymous, they had the option of emailing it to me, and
right.
then I would still give the answer, but you would have an anonymity. And that word, I cannot say it enough.
Anonymity.
Yes, it's like one of those words that you trip,
Yeah.
like you know it, but as you say it, it's like ah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I was giving advice. And on top of that, I'm a professional speaker, so answering questions and being a professional panelist, answering questions is very natural to me. And Exo Nicole is a platform. I mean, when Nicole changed the platform from Nicole Bitchy to EXO Nicole, I was so excited for her.
Mhm.
One because I love the content from before, but I think as I grew, like my Twitter is probably ratchet before. I would talk about everything, but
Right.
but that was back in the day. And then as I got older, especially as motherhood came to play, I needed things that filled my cup from career to finances to wellness. And I think that EXO Nicole solidified that for me. And it gave
Mm.
me pride to see a Black woman create a space for women of color to share and learn things that are taboo. And
Yes.
so I had been fortunate to be featured, I think, twice this year. And I pitched them and they loved the idea, and I was able to move forward with a column. And it's exciting. It's something that I'm still building, still, trying to create a pipeline to get more questions in and to help more people. But I
Mhm.
know it's valuable because Auntie Oprah is amazing and I would be just like her. But then also Wendy Williams, like I love lots of different kinds of people and characters. And Wendy Williams has X on Nicole, and I'm like, I mean, X, not X on Nicole, Lord, has Ask Wendy, and I'm like, that's powerful.
Mhm.
And on other platforms, like Insider, they have like, Ask the Specialist. And I'm
Yes.
like, I am branding myself to be one of the, premier wellness people.
Mhm.
And I'm doing it in steps. I'm learning and I'm sharing, and that's all I can do at this moment. But right now, I'm happy and excited for the platform, and I hope it continues to grow and adds to their vision as
Mhm.
well. And so yeah, I'm grateful.
I love it. I'm looking forward to reading more of your Ask Ayana Iman on X and Nicole. I actually was featured this month in X on Nicole on an article called "We Asked for Mogul Moms. Can women really have it all?" And here's what they had to say. It was myself and three other powerful online moms. I have been a follower of Exo Nicole for a minute. So when I came across that you had a column in there, I was so excited for you. I was like, yes, girl, yes, yes. So you also do regular events called Authentic Convos, correct?
Mhm. Yep.
And I believe that started a while ago because I remember seeing, I think it was the first time you did it, it was over a year ago, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it's been 2015.
Right, right, right. Okay, so tell us more about Authentic Compost.
Sure. So Authentic Convos is a platform for purposeful conversation, and in short, it's a panel discussion series. And I just celebrate. I just had my 10th conversation
Mm,
um, on September 15th, so it wasn't too long ago. And that for me was amazing because I've had these conversations while I was in grad school full
mhm,
time,
mhm.
while I was a full time, work employee. So I was a full time employee, full time grad student, and full time mom, and then hosting these events. And so it just kind of speaks to me just being a multitasker and liking to be busy, but not just being busy for the sake of busy, but busy, you know, um, living and being purposeful.
Yes.
And every conversation is a new topic, new thought leaders. So I've had conversations that range from health and wellness. The last one was tech diversity.
Mhm.
I am a huge advocate for STEM, especially now that I've gone through school and higher education and learning the technical skills that I need to be not only successful but to build wealth,
Yes.
and really wanted my daughter to be open to learning, everything, including STEM, so that she can apply it to any business. And that's something that I think we missed out on. And that conversation was dynamic. And I've had conversations about purpose versus popularity. And it's just been really cool because everything comes from my own brain in terms of the
Mhm.
conversation, the questions, people, and also marketing to get people in the door and building partnerships. And I think, moving forward, my goal is to create a conference. My goal is to partner with other organizations and also other businesses to help me fund this goal.
Mhm.
And really just provide an experience for people, especially in New Jersey, um, to really just to have access to information and to networks that cultivate everything from beauty to inspiration and empowerment.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps as you as you talk about all of that because I think it's important for women to hear, you already wear all of these hats, full-time mom, you were a full-time student, you're a full-time entrepreneur, full-time, everything already, but you still have these amazing huge goals to continue to inspire and to continue to serve. And I hear stories from a lot of my clients when they first start out that are moms and they say, well, I can't do it because. So they use having a child or children as an excuse as to why they can't. And, it's our job to show them not just through what we're coaching them through, but to also be a living example that we have children and and this is why we can and why we should be doing more. So I think it's beautiful, like just listening to you list all of the things that your goals are for the future. I love it. I love it. You are
Thank
amazing. I
you.
love it.
You're
So, um, I am a huge, huge fan of stilettos, and I mean, not everyone can walk in them, but to me, they symbolize a lot more than just a pretty shoe. So before I get into the deeper meaning, I'd like to ask you, what is your favorite type of shoe? I can give you a list if you'd like, or if you have off the top of your head, but you know, um, is
Mm.
it a high heel boot? Is it a running shoe? Is it a clog? Is it a
You know
flip
what?
flop?
It's definitely a stiletto, but it has to have a platform. Like,
Mm,
I need a thicker sole.
okay.
But I think if I apply that to life, stability is very important to me and having a
Mm,
foundation, and I think that heel is solid.
awesome, awesome. See, when I think about stilettos, I don't think about just the shoe. I think about walking when in elevated steps. I think about, you have to walk in purpose, on purpose. Like when you have stilettos on, I don't know if you've seen those memes or those videos with young girls or even women trying to walk in stilettos and they look like the baby raptor when they come out. They can't, be sturdy. So you have to stand firm. There's so many different symbolisms to me that stilettos have that some people may not necessarily get, but for women like yourself, what it's there's a blog that I read online where they did some history on what it means based on what type of shoe that you are into, and
Mhm.
represents a girl boss. You're competitive and maybe intimidating to some people, but you are a girl boss. There is no doubt about it.
I love it. You know what? I'm actually I'm 5'7", and I think I'm average height. I mean, what is average height? 5'5", I think.
I think so.
Um, so I'm above average, but I have friends that are 5'10", so I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
they're tall. I'm not tall, but people think I'm very tall. And I just say all my friends are short. Like all my friends are 5'3",
Yeah,
and it's
that's
their
me.
fault,
That's
not
me.
mine. Yeah, I told them we cannot take photos together. Get away. But I say that to say that I own every part of me. So when I'm in heels, I have heels that make me like 6'3",
Mhm.
and I own it. I mean, my hair is big. I have curves. I own it. I love a good dress. I love a good heel. And I just love the confidence of walking into the room and having all eyes on me, not because all my body parts are out, not because I'm the best dressed person in the room, although I love a good dress, um, but because I exude confidence and sexiness,
You
and
do.
I didn't have that my entire life. And so right now I'm living my best life and don't hate.
I love it, I love it, and you definitely do. I mean, from the moment that I met you, you walked in with full confidence, with the big hair. Yes, girl, and, and you exude that on your social media as well. Like, I love the confidence in your photos. You can see it in your face, in your eyes, in your hair, in your posture. I love it. I just love it.
Yay.
So I like to end the show with a little segment called The Walk in Her Stilettos, where you share inspiration from your journey. So I may ask you one or two questions just for the sake of time. So the first one I'm going to pick is what failure has taught you the most about your life?
Mm, failure has taught me a lot. Let me think of something. I think it taught me self-awareness. Like the that failure is can be a positive thing, or at least you can make it into a positive thing by truly dissecting what it was, why it hurt me, why did I feel so attached to it, why do I think it didn't happen? Even like just with the book,
Hmm.
why didn't I become a New York Times bestseller? Um, it wasn't because it wasn't a good book. It was more so the failure to do research, the failure to really understand that, you might make a book and maybe it's not your time to be on that best selling list. But then also that I learned so much from it, and that when you learn and you truly take on the lessons and you
Hmm.
apply it to your life, you can have much success. And so I think I do that with everything in life. And then also just giving myself credit, and also understanding like I was very ignorant to things. I didn't know everything. I still don't know
Mm,
everything.
mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. But Maya Angelou, she once said, when you know better, you do better.
That's
And
right.
I think
That's
that's
right.
what failure is for me. I know better, I do better.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely agree. My next question is what new belief, behavior, or habit has improved your life in the last 5 years?
New beliefs. You know what? I think protecting my energy is a habit that I've built.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I think just a year or two ago, I was on the scene like everywhere, and I spread my energy very thin, and I felt like I wasn't building quality relationships, mostly in part to the fact that I was working the room. But I think it came out for me, which was know your audience, know what your needs are, ask for your worth. So if you're getting paid for something that doesn't sit well with you,
Mm-hmm.
ask for what ask for your worth. And if
Yep.
they can't do it, be okay to say no.
Yep.
Um, and then also like letting people go. Like sometimes people are there for a season, and I think someone said, and I can't recall her name at the moment, but she was just saying, is it all skin folk and kinfolk? And
Mm.
so just because we black and we're black or we're women or whatever else connects or bond us doesn't mean that we're going to be the best of friends. It does
Yep.
mean that I should respect people, and I hope that they respect me, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that everyone you befriend is going to be the person that needs to be in your life. And it's not a bad thing at all. You can wish people well and understand that we're just not supposed to be within the same tribe, and that is okay.
I love that. I definitely believe that we meet people for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I mean, I've had people that I've met, beautiful, beautiful people, but after that one interaction, we never connected again. But that connection with them connected me to somebody else that became, one of my closest, business partners. So,
Mhm.
not everyone is meant to stick around for sure. Definitely. Love it. I love it. Ayana, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think you are an amazing mom. I think you are setting a beautiful example to all women that you can be more, you can do more, and you can have more. So until next time, download the A Walk in My Stiletto app or subscribe to our newsletter at walkinmystilettos.com. Continue to walk in greatness in your stilettos in a manner worthy of your calling.